Was your safety, your physical safety at risk at any one point?
Yes, at some stage, I thought I was at risk, my safety was at risk. They were behaving bullish. They were being unnecessarily hostile. So they had no answer. They said they are acting on instructions, and I needed to fill the form. So I declined to fill the form.
Exactly.
It was asking for my name, place of birth, details that are exactly on my passport. So I invited them to go photocopy the passport. And in the course of that conversation, one of them snatched my phone, one of my phones which I was holding on my hands.
Wow.
Very rudely. After a while, I had a second phone. I removed it. I wanted to communicate with Nairobi to tell them what is unfolding. I thought they had left, but they were hiding somewhere looking at what I'm doing. So the second one came and snatched the phone.
Imagine, ladies and gentlemen.
You're watching Mordecai Marissa Live Political Commentary. Please consider subscribing to help grow Uganda's Voices of Struggle ecosystem. Thank you.
I cannot appreciate you enough for using your valuable time to always go on social media, break down things for people.
And yes, indeed, broadcasting to you from these United States of the Americas. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. From wherever you're watching me and at whatever time you might enjoy these conversations, I am the aforementioned Mordecai Murisa, and you're welcome to Mordecai Murisa Live. Exactly. I want to believe you're doing okay, ladies and gentlemen. We continue to look at what's going on in Uganda. The lawlessness and impunity of Museveni. Unbelievable. How do we get out of this? Let's go. It is unbelievable what I see in Uganda. It is abysmal. But we've got to keep our eyes there and pray and hope, strategize, mobilize, and hope that someday things will change. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm referring to what happened yesterday when Senior Counsel from Kenya, Martha Karua, former Justice Minister, was denied entry into Uganda by Ugandan authorities and deported. Yes, you had me right. If you've been living under the rock, or you decided not to follow social media or mainstream media, you don't know what's going on. That's what happened yesterday. But I want to say this. What happened to Senior Counsel Martha Karua at Entebbe International Airport yesterday should alarm every believer in democracy, in the rule of law, in the respect of human rights across East Africa and across the entire world. Martha Karua, Kenya's former Justice Minister and lead counsel in Dr. Kizza Besigye's legal team, arrived in Uganda expecting to follow up. Is part of the Kizza Besigye's legal team, but she was detained by Uganda authorities, denied entry into the country, and declared persona non grata without explanation, and forcibly deported back to Kenya. But that wasn't all in regards to her ordeal. According to Karua, immigration officials at Entebbe International Airport confiscated her phones and never returned them. By the time she was put on the aeroplane and expelled from Uganda, her personal devices were still in the hands of Ugandan authorities. Let that sink in, ladies and gentlemen. Take time, all the time you got, to think about that. A senior lawyer, a former justice minister in Kenya, one of East Africa's most respected legal minds, was stripped of her property and deported without being given a reason. They said persona non grata. The question now is if this can happen to Martha Karua, what chance does the ordinary citizens have? That's the question we're going to be asking or interrogating this conversation. Let me take you to KTN, Kenya, where we're going to be listening to Martha Karua explaining to us what happened at Entebbe International Airport. Watch.
Walk us through what exactly happened during the hours of being held at Entebbe International Airport. Was your safety, your physical safety, at risk at any one point?
Let me first say that I'm feeling great. It's great to be home, and very happy with those who were able to meet me at the airport. The many, especially my colleague leaders who have come to visit me this evening, who have made telephone calls, all the family, friends, party. I feel very good this evening, upbeat. And yes, today morning, I arrived at Entebbe Airport at 8:50 a.m. aboard a Kenya Airways flight. This is a routine I have taken many times. I go there for the day, go to court, and come back in the evening. In fact, the colleagues I was with have just taken off from Entebbe Airport and are on their way back to Nairobi. So I was processed by immigration the normal way, and I passed. And at the baggage area, I was waiting for my colleagues to be cleared. Then the lady who had cleared me came and told me that she was informed she had made a mistake, that there was a note against my name. And she asked me to see the supervisor. I cooperated. We went to the supervisor, who then said I should see another officer, who then said I should see another officer. I ended up in the office of the principal immigration officer at the airport. They asked him what to do, and he asked them what the note said, and they said the note said they should deny entry, and he told them go put it into effect. So I returned with them to their office. They do not exactly look like they know what to do. Then two officers come, I suppose junior immigration police officers. They take me to a side office and give me a form to fill. I declined to fill and told them we need to begin by them telling me why I'm being held, and I had already been allowed entry. I'm a holder of an East African passport, and I'm there legitimately. Can I be told which section of the laws of Uganda and which particular law I have broken?
So now you understand when she said that, they really looked like they didn't know what they were doing. They do not. These are given orders. Do this. They're not explained. And all they do is, yes, sir. These are minions and lackeys of the Museveni criminal regime. This is the way things are done in Uganda. Many people are abducted. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine here in the USA, and asked me, hey, if Museveni really won the election as he claims in 2021 and then won an election in 2026, why not act like a winner? Act like this wise man who wants to always portray himself as, and release all political prisoners at the presidential mercy. And I said, you know what? Because many of these people that were abducted were tortured to a point of death. They were killed. If he releases some of them, we're going to ask questions. Now, you might be wondering, did he give orders to these foot soldiers to kill these people? Absolutely not. But they take his orders to their logical conclusions. If he tells me to torture these people, what is he wanting? To either maim them or kill them. So now, the more we demand for these political prisoners to be released, we are pretty much demanding for accountability for those that were killed. So, in order to evade shame, he says, I won't respond to that demand, even though these political prisoners never committed a crime. They were murdered by Museveni's foot soldiers. Like now, these ones who are telling Martha Karua, just sign this document. Isn't it even funny that they know Martha Karua is a lawyer, a distinguished one? Do they believe that she's just going to sign, put her hand, her signature on just a document, just sign? What are you talking about? Jeez.
So they had no answer. They said they are acting on instructions, and I needed to fill the form. So I declined to fill the form.
Exactly.
It was asking for my name, place of birth, details that are exactly on my passport. So I invited them to go photocopy the passport. And in the course of that conversation, one of them snatched my phone, one of my phones which I was holding on my hands.
Wow.
Very rudely. And I told him he didn't have to act like a bully. He should have asked for the phone if he wanted it. And I asked him what law allowed him to snatch my phone.
Mama, let me tell you, these people don't understand. They don't have a concept called law in their mind. See, you're responding to them through logic and reason and empathy and love and kindness. Hey, you don't have to snatch my phone. That's how they behave. They don't need to follow. They do not respect any person's rights. They're able to do that because they know that's how they show loyalty, their obsequious nature to their puppet master. So this is how they behave. This is not isolated. This is not new. That's in Uganda. Be like, okay, they did that. Yeah. This Uganda. So welcome to Uganda. I'm quite certain you're friends to Dr. Kizza Besigye and Elias Lukwago and a few other politicians. So if you're watching me from Kenya, this is how we are treated, and even worse. Sad.
If it is deportation does not allow them to seize my property.
Exactly.
So they went out. After a while, I had a second phone. I removed it. I wanted to communicate with Nairobi to tell them what is unfolding. I thought they had left, but they were hiding somewhere looking at what I'm doing. So the second one came and snatched the phone.
Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, they snatched the first phone and they came for the second phone. Now, you might be wondering, well, why are they all doing this? Let me try to take you to where all this began. Now, they've been watching because they've really failed to prove any case against or any charge against Dr. Kizza Besigye. So, Muhoozi was responding to his simp, David Kabanda. Actually, we should be playing the story of David Kabanda being exposed by NTV, but that story, I had to reschedule it. It's going to be playing next after this one. But David Kabanda says to Muhoozi Kainerugaba Museveni's neighbor baby, he's like, sir, addresses him as, sir, don't you fear Martha Karua and Segona? Segona is lawyer to Elias Lukwago. And Muhoozi Kainerugaba responds with, no way, I am going for them next. This is Muhoozi Kainerugaba Museveni's neighbor baby saying, you know what? I'm targeting Martha Karua and Medad Lubega Segona. This is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching me from Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and you're wondering what's going on in Uganda, that is the commander of Uganda's defense forces gloating on social media on how he's going to break the law. And his gut seems to be like, oh, Muhoozi, we love you. Oh, my God. How did we end up here? I don't know. Maybe I know.
So they were telling me to fill the form, and there was a standoff. Eventually, they took me back to the principal immigration officer, who was civil. He also requested I fill the form, and I told him not with what has transpired. First, to tell me why they have confiscated my phones, what they are doing with them, because I suspected they were mining information from my two phones. They refused with the phones. He said, I'll get them on my way back to Nairobi. I asked for reasons of my denial of entry. He didn't give any. He just said security. Why are you holding my phones? Security. That they are a security threat to Uganda. So I just kept quiet, and at some stage he said I should go to the room where they hold people. I suppose it's a holding cell at the airport. And I told him, because I was returning with KQ, my loyalty program allowed me to go to the KQ lounge, and that's where they should take me. At that stage, he looked relieved. He called the Kenya Airways manager, who came, was given my passport, was cautioned not to give me until I'm on board, and I was taken to the lounge where I waited. Yes, at some stage, I thought I was at risk, my safety was at risk. They were behaving bullish. They were being unnecessarily hostile and bullish. But I suppose now that I know, so many calls were being made all over. And I believe the very many statements made by many bodies, including the bar associations, the Kenya Bar Association, of which the president, Kajama Senior Counsel, was on the same flight as me to Uganda and was going to observe the case. I need to clarify, I wasn't and I am not a lawyer for my colleague Arias Lukwago. My practicing license is specific to Dr. Besigye and Obed Lutale. I was going there to observe his case and to give him moral support.
Yeah, now, that's why they know. And the reason that's why they behaved in such a way at the Entebbe International Airport is to show might. These are insecure men. These are people who don't have, who wouldn't win you over in an intellectual conversation or something in that regard. So the only way they want to win you over is by being bullish, by confiscating your property, by showing their might and stuff like that. It is really sad, but that's what we are. Ladies and gentlemen, this is as a result of the dictatorship of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. And every time I see all these kind of stories, I come back to my cry. Until the East African people realize that we have a problem, a cancerous problem called Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, that region is headed to total ruins. And why so? Because this kind of lawlessness and impunity we see right now, they should be really very difficult to ignore. Because what you see happening in Uganda rarely stays in only one country. Martha Karua has been denied entry into Uganda and announced persona non grata. It is the same that happened to her in Tanzania. You had Bobu Njaji and Nicholas Oyo from Kenya who were abducted and tortured in Uganda. You have other politicians, opponents, especially like in Rwanda, opponents of the, what's his name, Kagame's criminal regime, facing the same kind of threats, and we are all quiet. The problem starts from Uganda. Until we all unite and get rid of this Museveni, it is going to spread. Dictators are always looking forward at building some sort of partners. Like if you go back to the 1940s, you remember when Adolf Hitler was committing all these atrocities in Italy, there was Benito Mussolini. And then you went to Spain, there was Francisco Franco. They didn't stop at that. There was Joseph Stalin in the Soviet Union. And then Hideki Tojo in Japan. Museveni is pretty much trying to find partners that would be accomplices in lawlessness and impunity. He doesn't want to be isolated. He doesn't want to be alone or by himself, commit all these crimes by himself. He wants to be able to look at the entire region in complete catastrophe. That's what he wants. And until we unite together, and it's been done before, folks in Tanzania know about John Gideon Okello, who led the folks in Zanzibar to their independence. He was from Uganda. That's why I'm so much appreciative to Bobu Njaji and Nicholas Oyo for their bravery, for their love when they decided to come to Uganda and join Bobi Wine's camp. That we have to unite together. You know, Museveni, I was watching a video here where Museveni talks about the East African integration. And I'm like, what are you even talking about, Museveni? Will you shut up?
Second East African Court of Justice Judicial Conference attended by partner member states held in Kampala has ended. The closure of the conference was officiated by President Yoweri Museveni. While officiating at the closure of the conference, the president re-echoed the need for integration if
The need for integration, what do you mean?
Africa is to address the challenges affecting them.
Rwanda and Burundi came in, and South Sudan, DRC has now come in, and Somalia is coming. So this is the logic of integration.
The logic of integration. I hate the croaking of this man. The logic of integration. He's just got these talking points that he usually spews every time. When he says the logic of integration, he means integration into his control. You cannot integrate unless you're integrating to be controlled by Museveni. He looks at himself, like I usually define him, a self-serving, narcissistic sociopath who lied to our parents and grandparents in the 80s by using, he understood what people wanted to hear. What were the desperations of the Ugandan people? The rule of law, respect of human rights, constitutionalism. It says, okay, I know I am a self-serving, narcissistic sociopath, but I can use these as a decor, as a facade to win popularity and support of the masses. And the moment he got to power, ascended to power, he took the mask off. He just uses all these words just for the sake. He doesn't care about integration. He doesn't care about human rights. He doesn't care about the rule of law. He doesn't care about the constitution. He doesn't care. He only cares if it is serving his narcissistic sociopathy. That's it. Let me take you to another incident where he's just spewing all these words because he knows, people would like to hear this, but he doesn't believe a thing.
It will not do.
It will not do croaking.
For you to be a DA in a district and people are murdered and you don't arrest the murderers.
Or people are murdered and you don't arrest the murderers. Right now, your son is gloating in the abduction, torturing, and killing of innocent people. When are you arresting your son? Or when are you arresting yourself? He doesn't believe. He has no values. He has no principles. He has no morals. But he wants to print like, I'm smart, Museveni, please follow me. Zero. He's a charlatan. A shrewd charlatan. We have to give a death card to this man. Metaphorically. I'm not trying to say, hey, we should kill him. Absolutely not. But we need to unite as East African people. Get rid of Museveni, get rid of Muhoozi, and open a new chapter in the book called East African Region. You know, I usually see our folks from Kenya swimming in the mockery directed at Ugandans. They'll be like, Ugandans are weak. Museveni tells them and blah, 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 blah. You don't know what you're laughing at. It is coming to your door. It is knocking, actually. It's already in your country. Remember? Museveni entered Kenya, abducted Dr. Kizza Besigye. Up to now, the Kenyan authorities have never explained. How did that happen? The mocking you direct towards Ugandans. You've seen what has happened in Tanzania. Agatha Tyre was arrested in Tanzania. She's a Ugandan activist. It is spreading. Don't you think that you're safe because you're Kenya? I think we've actually started hearing some whispers of amending the Constitution of Kenya. I wonder where William Ruto is copying that idea from. It is really, really, really unfortunate. However, one of the things that really brought a smile on my face was this, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see on the screen. This is a former Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, 14th Chief Justice. He says, this evening I paid a courtesy call on Senior Counsel and PLP Party Leader, Honorable Martha Karua, at her home to express my solidarity following her ordeal in Uganda earlier in the day. Also calling in were Kalonzo Musyoka, Honorable Muturi, and Professor Kangwaja. And then it says that there can be no meaningful East African community if citizens performing their professional duties are harassed or barred from moving freely across the borders as permitted by the treaty. As counsel for political prisoners, Dr. Kizza Besigye and Obed Lutale, Martha Karua has every right to access her client in Uganda. We call on the government of Uganda to uphold the rule of law and respect binding treaties of the Jumuiya. I hate to be the bearer of the bad news. Former Chief Justice Maraga, you're asking a rock to produce water. It's not going to happen. Museveni, he doesn't care. He lives in this alternate reality where he's a king. He does whatever he wants. The videos online, you can go look for them or search for them. Look them up. Where Museveni says, I don't care. I'm not anybody's servant. I don't care. I only care about my children and my grandchildren and my family. He doesn't care about the rule of law. He cares about it only when it is convenient, only when it serves his own interests. He does not care. This man should be boycotted, isolated, opposed, name it. You cannot apply reason and logic to Museveni. He does not care. And so he's his son. We have to unite. There should be some sort of coalition among East African nations, especially those that are opposed to dictatorships, folks that are opposed to tyranny, to lawlessness and impunity. We should come together and use one voice. Stand against the dictatorship. If we let Muhoozi Kainerugaba become president, don't be surprised if the next president of Kenya or Tanzania or name it, if they are like Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Theirs is cruelty. Theirs is violence. So we need to unite, bring our voices together. It is very, very unfortunate. Lastly, this video is becoming long. So you have tit for tat here. Lawyer Omari, I'm going to have to show you this. Read there. Lawyer Omari wants Kenya to also ban Uganda lawyers after Karua's ordeal. Go on, let's go on and listen here.
Helicopter explainers. Senior Counsel Martha Karua, a former minister in the Kibaki government, Minister for Justice, a practicing senior woman advocate, a political icon, a running mate of Baba. She has a lot of accolades. She was denied entry to Uganda High Court, where Kizza Besigye is facing trial. What does the law say?
Yeah. So he's going to go on and, ask what the law says. Well, it doesn't apply to Museveni. I'm sorry. He's a lawless criminal thug. He doesn't believe in the rule of law. We should find some strategy that is non-violent but assertive and get rid of that criminal regime. It is toxic, it is cancerous, and is spreading at a bullet speed like wildfire, they say. Let me know what you think in the comment section. My name is Mordecai Mlisa, and I immensely appreciate. I'll be back here soon. Like I told you, there's a story about David Kabanda, Muhoozi's simp, being torched by the NTV Uganda. You want to watch that commentary? It's going to be playing at least in the next 5 or so hours. So stick around. I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.